How can you turn your motivation into discipline? You probably clicked on this video because you're struggling to stay motivated and have discipline in your life. You know, I was suffering from this problem, so watch this video on full screen and watch it all the way through, as we will learn how to develop discipline just by following some basic rules. So, what is the main problem? Why do we lack motivation? You've probably asked this question yourself many times when you're either studying or working. Personally, I asked myself this question when I was studying for my university exams. I couldn't sit down even for 30 minutes because I felt tired and wanted to do something that would stimulate me more. This is one more problem on which I know for sure that you can relate with me. Our main problem is that we would rather play video games or watch a Netflix series instead of answering this question. The reason we resort to playing something more stimulating is because of our brain. Our lizard brain would tell us that we need to be somewhere else, which would boost our motivation. However, what really happens is the motivation we went after never comes. We end up spending the whole day playing video games, and our work remains undone. I know it may seem hard to believe that one single video could make you more motivated and disciplined. However, I'll prove it. You just have to implement some basic rules into your life. Think of these rules as baby steps to increase your motivation. For example, if we want to achieve a goal, like building our dream physique, we have to train every day. The same rules apply to discipline. You must do your work every day to start seeing a change. If you ask me, these rules have drastically changed my life from a young teenager who used to procrastinate on anything that was a little difficult, to a much more disciplined guy who has now started his own company from scratch, and yes, the main thing, makes more money. The first rule I would talk about is to start developing productive habits that become as normal as getting up and eating breakfast in the morning. You may ask, what habits should we start with, and how can we develop them? Actually, there's a cheat code, and this cheat code could be used to manipulate our brains into doing more productive habits automatically. These habits can be divided into two parts: instant gratification and delayed gratification. Believe me, this is most likely the most important lesson that we can learn. Instant gratification habits are things we do that make us feel good right away, but make our lives worse over time. As an example, it might be fun to look through social media and see a funny video at the time, but doing this every day makes our attention span shorter, which makes it harder for us to focus on what's important. On the other hand, delayed gratification habits are things we do that are hard at first, but make our lives better in the long run. It might feel a little hard at first to read a non-fiction book instead of playing video games, but in the long run it helps us learn more, and makes us more likely to make better choices in the future. The key is to spend less time on habits that give us instant satisfaction, and more time on habits that give us delayed gratification. In my personal experience, the three best and most beneficial delayed gratification habits are having some kind of work to do, exercise, and meditation. Okay, now it's time to actually learn the cheat code, which will automatically make your brain get used to these habits. You don't have to start by doing 100 push-ups on the first day, or sit down and work for 5 hours. Instead, you have to make it easy for yourself. It's proven that our brains need 21 days to develop a habit. The fun part is that the time we spend on that particular habit does not matter. This is why we have to make these habits as easy as possible for us in the beginning, and stick to it for 21 days, because after 21 days, it will be much easier for you to start focusing on them for much longer. Personally, when I started working on developing these habits, I used to meditate for 3 minutes every day, do 20 push-ups, and work for 15 minutes. Eventually, some weeks passed by and I started to develop stamina and discipline. Let's be clear, motivation does not last a lifetime. Everyone suffers from a lack of motivation now and then. If we have developed a habit for doing something regularly, our brain will automatically get us to work. I know you would be thinking that these habits might not make it that much of a significant impact, but I need you to trust me. It made all the difference for me. The second big thing that changes our lives is the people who surround us. That has a massive effect on our lives. That brings me to the second step, which is having good inspiration and knowledge. A very strong quote that you may have heard is, "We are the average of 5 people we spend the most time with." However, since we spend so much time on YouTube and following other people, The new version of this saying is that we are the average of the 5 people whose material we watch the most. The material we consume has the same effect on us as our friends and family do on how we think and feel about what's possible and what's not. Start reading things by people who have a good effect on you. Like start reading books and watching YouTube videos where people talk about how they got better. This will help us think that we can also do what we're trying to do. In my experience, this helped me a lot. I always dreamt of starting my own business from scratch. So what I did was I interacted with more people who knew about the business, and started watching more videos on YouTube. This helped me build the knowledge I needed to start my business. Before we move on to the last step, which is perhaps the most important one, I'll tell you about my own experiences and the benefits these simple steps had in my daily life. As time passed, I noticed that I'd become way better at studies, work, and every other aspect of my life. I was actually able to sit down and finish off all my work without getting distracted, which I really thought I could never do in a million years. Some words of advice. Most likely, the most important part of the video. Take action. Not tomorrow. Not after you're done with your gaming tournament, but today. Start getting up early in the morning and meditate for 3 to 5 minutes before going to work or to school. Start watching videos that can actually help your life, practically, instead of watching TikToks and playing video games. Most of all, start taking care of your mental health. Get a diary and write down things that make you happy. If I can change myself, you can too. You got this. Mental health is important. You might be thinking that this is boring and pointless, but that's why most people don't improve. That's what they believe. They overlook this important part. Naturally, we won't do as well in school or work if we don't enjoy it because of our mental health issues. Simply put, we do better when we are happy. How can we be happier? A simple exercise that we can do in the mornings, and that only takes 2 minutes, has been shown by science to make people happy. Take 2 minutes to write down on paper or in your journal at least one thing you're thankful for right now. One example is what I wrote this morning. I'm thankful for the warm coffee on my table because it's cold outside and the coffee tastes great. The thing is, this might seem silly or even funny. Practicing this daily for a few days will make us feel much better because our brains will start to naturally find more things to be thankful for during the day. Good job. You made it to the end of the video. You should feel proud of yourself for that. Make sure to subscribe for more videos like this one. That's all I had to say. I'm out. Peace.